And 3, 2, 1.
You're listening to The Real Social Proof Podcast with Mr. Sleepers for Suckers himself, David Shands. Let's get it.
Welcome to another edition of the Social Proof Podcast. I'm your co-host, David Shands, here with...
Dacia Ruth. David thinks he could just rearrange everything.
It's like strong and powerful Ruth. Oh, we got a special guest.
Yeah, because I told David that when I was a kid, people used to tease me and say, the roof is on fire.
Burn, baby,
yeah.
burn.
See, he gonna...
No, we in my era.
I should not have mentioned that, but it's all good. So,
yeah. But we have
Ruth here.
We have a special guest in the building, Dacia.
Yes, we do.
Okay.
In the building.
In the building. Man, it rubbed off on me. Okay, we got a special guest here.
Say complex.
In the
building. In the complex.
In the complex. Okay, that's
the new move. We about to say
there
in
it
the
is.
complex.
We got a special guest in the complex. And actually, just for one of the wisest people I've ever met. And actually, we were just kind of talking before the podcast. Dacia almost dropped her phone like, hold on, we got to record this. We got to record this.
Because dropping all the jewels.
All the jewels. Mr. Robert Gould, what's going on, man?
That's okay. There's no Mr., but I received the Robert Gould, and thank you for what you said. You was just testing me, trying to sneak it in.
Absolutely, man. So introduce yourself to the people, man, for those that don't know.
Well, my name is Robert Gould. I reside in the great city of Columbus in the awesome state of Georgia. I am a I'm a one-woman's man.
Okay.
I've been married for 38 years, got 3 wonderful boys, 3 lovely grandkids, and I am the greatest credit educator on the planet.
On the planet.
It's
Those
a pleasure.
Big words, right?
Let me say it again. Greatest.
Okay.
The GOAT.
Okay.
The
GOAT.
When it comes to educating people on the importance of having excellent credit. That's right. Bunch of people out there repair and all that. But it's all about education. You know, people perish for the lack of knowledge. Mm-hmm. Everything we need to be skinny, rich, and happy, we don't have to go to the moon. We don't have to go to Pluto. It's available. All we have to do is go out there and either find it or surround ourselves by people who have that information and then leverage them to get what we need to get done.
Absolutely. So tell us something we don't know about credit, Rob, since you're the greatest educator
the greatest
on
that
earth.
ever did it.
Well, there's no such law that says credit has to be reported. When we think about the 3 major credit agencies, Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian, they are not bureaus. They are privately owned companies, and they're in business to make money by selling yours and my private information without our permission. Mm-hmm. Think about this. We can have a cell phone. We can have cable. They can't really do much without our permission. I'll give you an example. The cable bill is in my name. Mm-hmm. The cell phone bill is in my name. Mm-hmm. My wife's name is on both accounts. Same address. They even know that's my wife. Mm-hmm. But if my wife calls in and say, listen, I want to find out information about this account. I want to see the billing. They're going to take a look. And if they don't see my authorization where I gave them permission for her to be able to have access to that information, they won't do it. Mm-hmm. They won't even do it for you and your family. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, how come Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian can take our personal information, our private dealings with the companies that we do business with, whether it's a bank, credit card company, and they can report our stuff out there without our permission? That's illegal, isn't it?
That's a really good question.
That's a good question.
It's illegal.
Sound real illegal.
It is illegal, but remember, we don't know what we don't know.
Yo, are these credit bureaus only in America?
Don't try to sneak that bureau in. It's an agency. They're not attached to the government or at all. And here's what's so crazy, David. Just like you just said the bureau. Where did you get that from?
I've been brainwashed, right?
That's what they
Get
said.
out of the matrix.
Right.
Oh, I need
Take
to wake
the
up.
blue pill.
We all are brainwashed. We brainwashed
woke.
about everything. Sports, colors, and everything. Nothing wrong with being brainwashed. It's only wrong when that brainwashedness cause you to lose something.
Yep, that's not a word.
Right.
Brainwashness.
I thought I'd try to sneak that in.
Try to sneak that one. That ain't a word. I know that. I use some crazy words, but not washness.
I tried to get it by you. I tried.
So let me ask you, is like TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. Is that just an American agency?
No, they're
It's
worldwide.
all over the world, right?
All over the world.
So
In
everybody
fact,
has a credit score.
Not everybody has a credit score.
Well, everybody has a credit score based on this same standard.
No. I'll give you an example. Equifax corporate office is in Georgia. TransUnion corporate office is in Pennsylvania. Experian is not even an American company anymore. Their corporate American office is located in Texas, but their corporate office is in another country. Mm-hmm. And what makes it unique is each country has their separate entity. Just like in the United States, we have 50 states, right? Mm-hmm. Not 49. Mm-hmm. How about 51?
Nope.
We got 50 states. Each state has a what? Governor. The governor is like the what? The CEO of that state. Mm-hmm. So each state has certain things that they can and cannot do. Same thing with the credit agencies. In the United States, we're the only country where we have the right to question the credit agencies, and they have to give us a response within 30 days. Mm-hmm. The closest country to us is Canada. They have the right to dispute their information, but in Canada, the credit agencies only have to respond to them, guess what? Once a year. Mm-hmm. So different countries have different things, and the credit agencies operate in a bunch of these countries. Mm-hmm. But in the United States, I feel we're the ones that's really taking advantage of. We got over, about 325 million people? Mm-hmm. And this is just my opinion. I believe out of that 325 million, I would say 80 to 85% of us do not have a 750 and above on all three. Again, that's all three credit reporting agencies. And the number one reason why is all companies don't report to all three credit agencies. Mm-hmm. And let me give you an example, David. Let's say in Atlanta, you bank with Bank America. Mm-hmm. And let's say Bank America has an exclusive deal with Equifax because Equifax is in Georgia. And they say, look, if you do business with me, instead of charging you the normal $40 per line item on anything we do, we'll let you get it for $2. Mm-hmm. So guess what they're going to say? Okay, if you got a credit card from Bank America, David, and they report it to Equifax, let's say you got your house payment through Bank America, they're going to report it to what? Equifax. And your credit card through Bank America, they're going to report it to Equifax, right? So let's say you pay all your bills on time, and the various different FICO scoring system out there, but the normal one that they use range anywhere from 350 to 850. Anything below 620 is considered an F. So let's say in your example, David, you pay all your bills on time. You got an 800 score with Equifax, right? Mm-hmm. Let's say you and your wife decide to move to Texas. And guess who they use?
TransUnion.
So when TransUnion, when they pull your credit report with TransUnion, guess what kind of score you got?
Not the same.
No, you got zero.
Right.
Nothing. Guess why you have zero?
Because they don't report.
They don't report. Experian has no history of anything that you've done.
But you're thinking that you're assuming automatically that they're reporting to all three.
Absolutely.
So as the novice or the new person and, trying to get their credit back on track, what does this mean for them? Like, so then what do they need to do as a result of knowing this information? That people that I bank with, people that I have credit cards with, they may not be reporting to all three of the, not bureaus, but all three of the agencies, right? So then what do?
They need to contact me, Robert Gould. 706-681-1655. Or they can text me, Gould, Gould, at 40691, just to get the information. But prior to doing that, here's what we'll tell you to do. What you need to do is make sure that you're doing business with somebody that reports to what? All three credit agencies.
Yeah.
And one of the companies that do that more regular than anybody is a credit card company.
Got it.
Now, let me tell you about those credit cards. The credit cards are the best thing on the planet to have to build your credit.
Man, listen, I made a post the other day where I was just kind of telling the journey of how I fixed my own credit.
How did you fix your own credit?
I called Robert Gould at
706-681-1655.
Look, shoot Robert a text right now.
I've been doing this since 2006, and this is the honest-to-God truth.
How'd you get started?
I had bad credit.
Okay.
And the God I serve sent an angel to me that made me aware of that. Now, because I was an executive at UPS at the time, I could get anything I want, but I paid deposits, I paid high interest rates, and because I was uneducated and I was poor, and what poor means, I was poor in education, because of that, I was paying the most for everything. So with that being said, why do the poorest people have to pay the most for everything? So in 2006, I got introduced to this information. I finally did my due diligence instead of going to the person I thought, because he graduated and had a degree in finance. It wasn't in credit, it was in finance.
Right.
And when I went to him and said I had bad credit, I can get my credit fixed, he said, man, ain't nothing you can do. So I finally read the instructions, and the same information I'm sharing with you got shared to me. And within 6 months, I went from a 486 to a 720, and I've been like a 780 ever since.
So I was, it was actually when I met Rob, I think my score was like 6, I think it was like low 620 or something like that. In about 4 months, I went past 750. But in this journey, Rob said, hey, man, get American Express. And I'm like, first off, only rich white folk get American Express.
That's exactly what he said. And I said, I ain't gonna lie to you. I felt the same way.
Yo, listen, as a server at the Cheesecake Factory, when somebody pulled out an American Express,
you immediately thought that they was balling.
I knew they was balling. And most of the time, they give an all right tip.
Yeah.
They pay with an all right tip.
That's what I'm talking about.
So he was like, yo, get American Express. I'm like, all right, well, this is going to be a pointless credit pool. And he sent me the link for Delta American Express, and I got approved for $10,000. It's like 20 now.
Okay.
Whoa.
David, can I ask you a quick question though?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because were you nervous about him pulling your credit? Because were you afraid that he was going to judge you, or you already knew like, okay, this is probably
the reason I'm coming to is because I got bad credit.
Can I answer that?
Because I know people get a little self-conscious about that.
Let me just reinforce what she said.
I'm glad David was confident.
I'm going to reinforce exactly what you said.
Yeah.
Remember I said earlier, David was the most coachable person that I've ever had since 2006. And nobody has beaten that. Because most people would do what you said. They will be a little leery.
Yeah.
But even if he was leery, he didn't show it. And that's what I do. I tell people what to do because I know 100% what's going to happen. They're going to either what? Do it or what?
Or not do it.
And at the end of the day, I don't care. Let me say this. Let me clarify that. The reason I don't care is because I can't care. And my belief is everybody has a season and a time to do everything.
Okay.
And what my purpose is just to put people in front of the correct information and then do what? Shut up.
Okay.
In other words, plant the seed and let everything else take care of itself.
Okay.
But like I said, when David told me that and I knew his process, I said, David, go ahead and give it a shot. Because the worst thing they can do is say what?
No.
And what have we lost?
Nothing.
So he did it, and what happened after that, David?
I think, even to answer your question, people put on such a front that they don't want to be exposed.
Yeah.
If I have bad credit right now, I'll put it on Instagram. Yo, I got bad credit. I need to fix my credit.
Yeah.
Hello.
Because I haven't built my brand around like fronting or lying. So there's some people that may have a different perception of me that I make $1 million a year, and I don't. So I put my goals out there for 2020. I need to make $1 million within 12 months, and I got a real solid plan for it.
Good.
So I didn't care. I'm like, yo, I need to get help. It's like having a broken leg and you don't want to go to or worse, say somebody they're having you get a stinging sensation when you relieve yourself.
Oh.
You can either be so embarrassed to go to the clinic, or you can go get fit. Like that you don't go, or you can go get fixed.
Is this from past?
No. I never.
Okay. You know, please don't answer that. Please,
but it is what it is.
I was going to tell an old college story, but
okay, go for it.
So anyway, fast forward. Robert said, "Hey, take this link and apply for his Delta American Express card." I got approved, $10,000. Since then. My credit with American Express is $55,000. I got between three cards. But what happened was, and I made this post. I'm getting back to my story. I made this post how I fixed my credit. I got a credit card, and then I put my family on my credit card. So I got my best friend, my wife, my mom, my brother, all of my credit cards. Because one, I'm gonna pay my bills, and they don't actually get a card. My wife got one, but That's a whole nother headache. Not headache, but story.
A blessing.
A whole nother
But it can be a curse. A blessing.
A whole nother opportunity.
A blessing.
A whole nother
A
opportunity.
BC. BC.
What's a BC?
Well, for me, it was like before Christ. And AC after Christ.
Okay.
That could be that's a fun journey. But the cool thing is I've been able to like really work with my wife through educate. Like I wasn't educated, so nobody taught her either. So I feel blessed. But moral of my story is I got a credit card. I got a high balance, and I put my family on. And it was a girl. A couple people actually on my post that said, "Why you got credit cards? You don't need no credit cards. What are you doing with credit cards? Credit cards are bad. Credit cards are ugly. You shouldn't have credit cards." So what do you say to that, Rob?
Well, I got 20 credit cards, and here's why. It's better to use other people's what?
Money.
And then let your money do what? Work for you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
See, the credit cards got a great system, and it's called a game. Everything in life is a game. It is. If you don't believe me, tell me something that you think in life that's not a game. Just what I thought. So with that being said, all you have to do is know the rules of the game. Mm-hmm. Like David, you just got married, right?
Yep.
David is learning the what?
The rules
Of the game.
of engagement.
Right. And here's the crazy part, David.
The rules of engagement.
If you play by the rules, what happens 100% of the time?
You
win.
You win.
Not all the time.
Yeah, you do.
I heard his
here's what I mean by
hesitation.
that.
Now if you just play by the rules.
Well, here's what I mean by
two
win.
things are, okay.
What I mean is you know the outcome.
Okay.
Okay, you know the outcome.
Mm-hmm.
1 + 1 always equals what?
Two. You won't get disqualified, pretty much, if you play
Well,
by the rules.
the last podcast, David was saying that 1 + 1 sometimes equals 5 with women. So,
But see,
But watch this.
go on and lie and say don't.
But see, again, that's a lie. We know that.
Crazy.
the reality is
Show
1
me
+
some
1
documentation.
always equals
Always
2.
equals 2.
In marriage, when I'm
Well, you
talking,
can't say 1 + 1 then.
bruh.
I'm just saying, I'm just getting a few points back on the board for the lady side because last week we was losing a little
Well, I'm
bit
here to
on the-
tell y'all
on that
David was
discussion.
wrong.
Okay, let me give you this. Let me give you this. Is the Earth round or flat?
Round.
You sure?
Based on looking at yes, it's round.
Okay. Some people will argue you. Scientists will argue you that the world is flat.
So just because they argue, does that mean it's right or wrong?
But how do you know?
I've seen it. I've seen it.
We've all had seen the same pictures.
I'm with you. Okay, then, David, I'm going to make it easy for you.
Okay.
Which one came first, the chicken or the egg?
Who knows?
Everybody. The created is never bigger than the creator. The created is never
How do you
bigger
know
than the creator.
creator didn't create the egg?
It doesn't matter.
It does matter.
But again, now what
See
David
the
is
conversation
saying,
we're having?
but that's
this
good.
is marriage, okay? Nobody's
it.
right. Nobody's wrong.
But, no.
This
but,
isn't blue. It's a different shade of blue. It's
but
not
it is. But in your case, David, you're right. And in my case, I'm right. So
You're
at
both
the end
right.
of the day,
You're both right.
can't we agree just to say, stay in my lane and you stay in your what?
That's like me saying 1 + 1 is 2, and my wife saying 1 + 1 is like 3.684.
So based on the information that you know about 1 + 1, then who's wrong?
Nobody's wrong.
I'll rest my case. But that's
That's what
right.
I- that's
and
what I
that's
said.
why we live in the greatest country in the world, because we can let
Somebody's
folks say
wrong
stuff.
on the 1 + 1.
No, they're
equals
not.
two.
Because
Somebody
if
is
they believe,
wrong.
but no. Remember, if that's what they truly believe,
For sure.
let's say this now.
Let them believe
No,
that.
hold on. If that's what they truly believe, then what gives you or me the right to say they're wrong? Really?
All the facts.
Because I know that 1 + 1 equals 2, I can't tell you that you're wrong on that.
No. But that's their belief. So once you tell them and they choose not to believe it,
I
then
feel
what should you do?
Just let them believe what they want to believe.
Right, because I'm going to give you an example. The
It doesn't harm you
Right,
any.
the greatest college football team of all time is the University of Miami.
to you.
Right, but if I
Right.
go to Tuscaloosa, they ain't going to say Roll Tide, right?
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
So we can agree that we both like what? College football.
Right.
Okay.
So same thing with here. And that's what we have to learn how to do, especially as Black Americans. Even though that his opinion is totally different from mine, can't we just respect that we both got an opinion?
But the point of the matter is 1 + 1 is equals something different to two different people when it comes to marriage.
But then
As I'm standing on that.
you can stand on it because you got the right to be wrong.
Absolutely.
You got the right to be wrong.
For our listeners,
Now watch this.
that conversation was all my fault because I'm
yes,
Now I'm going to cut a little bit.
Moving right along.
No, let me ask you this one thing.
Credits.
David, right now,
What up?
before you got married, what side of the bed did you sleep on?
I slept on the right side.
Now that you're married,
Right side, same side.
rest my case.
What's the point?
Just sounded good.
Okay. Oh my goodness.
That's how you end it.
That's it.
And that's how you segue into, okay, credits.
This podcast is sponsored by DonaldTheVoice.com. For all your audio and video needs, I'm here for you. Sound good, look good, be good. The official editor and producer of the Social Proof Podcast, Donald the Voice. And now, back to the show.
Credit. Okay. So let me ask you, why do people have bad credit?
Lack of knowledge. Okay, because most people
More lack of knowledge or lack of discipline? People
lack
know
of
they
knowledge.
need to pay their bills.
Lack of
They just
knowledge.
don't.
Watch this. Do people pay their cell phone?
Of course.
Yep.
Do they pay their hair bill?
Yes.
Yes.
Do they pay their gambling? No, okay,
Or
say that.
barbershop.
Do they pay their food bill?
Absolutely.
So people can pay their bills.
Yep.
So we
If they
can't
prioritize
say
them.
it's all about choice. That's it.
Right.
So what happens is once people really understand the consequences for not paying their bill on time, then we can move more people out of that industry.
Sure.
Because you'll never have 100% on anything.
Right.
Give you a perfect example.
Yeah.
I know some friends that went to the doctor, and the doctor said, you got diabetes. And guess what they said? Got to die from something.
They chose to remain unhealthy.
I got to die from something. I'm serious. So with that being said, even if it was somebody we really loved, you probably would want to be Mother Teresa, wouldn't you?
I'm trying to help you.
I know
For
it.
sure.
Because that's the
Who I am.
really nature of
Yeah.
females as
Yeah,
a whole.
yeah,
And you got some men that would do that.
yeah.
Guess what I'm going to say? Now that you know better, you can do one or two things.
You can choose to do right
That's it.
or keep going where you're going.
That's
Absolutely.
it. And that's the approach that I took in my credit education business, because once I got blessed in 2006, that was my goal. Because I'm here to tell you, this is my personal belief. Nobody wants to be sold anything. Is that fair to say?
No, correct.
Nobody wants to be recruited for anything, do they?
Correct.
Nobody wants to be really told they're wrong about something they really believe in, right?
Right.
We see that today.
Right. So so all we got to do is get good at putting people in front of the correct what?
Information.
And then what's going to happen, it's going to still be the correct information
They can choose.
that they might disagree with. Just like that 1 + 1 in the female equal 4.
Yeah.
We got the correct information. They choose to disagree with it, and we can say, okay, move on.
Yeah.
That's real. That's real.
That's real.
The one thing I want to ask too is you share some things with me about legacy. Like people talk about legacy, but really don't truly understand how to create it. And you were talking about some things you have your kids set up for where they can't touch the money unless it's based on certain activities or something like that. I thought that was the coolest thing in the world.
Well, again, in the belief that I have spiritually, it says a good man leave an inheritance to his children's children's children. So again, I got to hang around some really successful people, that got money passed down to them. And they said one of the things that they learned was you can leave as much money to whomever you want and specify how you want it. So one of the things I learned was you got a bloodline. A bloodline is anybody that's born into the Gould family. So I got 3 boys. So let's say one of my sons went out there and they had a relationship with a female and they didn't get married and they gave birth to a child.
Yep.
Then that child is part of my what? Bloodline.
Yep.
Yes.
So because of trust, wills, and stuff like that, that child is entitled to the proceeds that I've got set up to hand down to them. Now, the cool part about it is if that female choose to marry my son and they have a good relationship because my son is part of my bloodline, then she could share in the blessings that I share to him, right?
Sure.
But here's the cool part. If they don't, and no matter what happens to them, she will not have any access to my money except through
For the sake of her child.
child.
Yeah.
And I got stipulations about, my kids,
But she would have to get guardianship over that trust in certain states.
No. But, I got to set up like this.
Yeah.
If my son give birth to any woman, that, they're going to take care of the kid. Okay. The kid's going to be set up. And as long as that lady is taking care of that child, she'll be able to, get some of the rewards because that's what I believe. That's my bloodline.
Okay.
Even if my son wanted to do something stupid, it doesn't matter. If a child is born through one of them, through the GOULD, then they're going to share on the proceeds or the things that I've had like 50 or 100 years ago.
I love it.
But if this isn't set up, then, say this isn't set up, then let's say, for instance, I'm
Prince.
your son.
You'll be like anybody. If you don't have a will or a trust, right now you need to have a will, a trust, a financial power of attorney, and a medical power of attorney. If you don't have all four of those today, I believe that you're leaving yourself open to where attorneys can come in and get money that they don't even have the rights to.
Gotcha. But my point is, say for instance, it isn't set up, and I'm your son, and I marry a woman, and we have a child. If me and the woman break up, if you don't have this thing set up, then
none of y'all get nothing.
Nobody get anything.
No, nothing. It starts with me. Then you pass it to your sons, like the way I got it set up.
What if you just said, "Yo, my son gets it"?
All right, so here's why I got it set up with my sons. And in my sons, if something happens to me, and it's based on the cost of living at that time, like right now, it's either they can either get $2,500 or $3,000 a month, and then they'll be getting that for forever. And you might say, well, how can you say that forever? Because I got insurance set up on me, my wife, and my kids, and if something happens, that insurance money goes into the what? GOULD Business Solution goes into our whole thing. And in order for my sons to be able to participate in this, they also have to get what? Life insurance on him. On who? Themselves. So once they die, instead of having crying and everything, everybody going to be happy. Because every time when somebody in the GOULD family die, that means somebody done got $500,000 or $1 million.
Well, they're not going to be happy, but they're going to have some financial support.
They're going to be happy because if you were suffering in pain, you ain't suffering no more.
You can't be happy in public.
No, you're not going to be sitting at the funeral like cheesing. You can still
not at the funeral.
Why not?
When you get to the crib.
Wait,
hold on.
For those that can't see David smile right now, he has so much joy.
That Monday morning is going to be a litty.
Again, if you know who you are, but more importantly, whose you are, that really supposed to be a celebration.
Okay.
But
I see what you're saying.
A lot of times it's not a real celebration because everybody robbing Peter to pay Paul, to get a cable bill, to bury this, and just craziness.
All right. Yeah. But a regular will says, yo, I'll leave it to my son. Or
a will is on a certain part, and then you got to have a trust. So it's a lot more and it's a lot more involved in that, especially if you have multiple assets.
That's how these bloodlines get rich and
That's
stay rich,
it.
man.
So,
That's it.
So let me, I probably won't go into all of the detail, but my father passed in October of last year. And so he was a horse farmer. And so he owned a ranch in Florida, and he grew and sold horses. So he had, at the time, maybe 20 horses or something like that.
Wow.
And so when he passed, he was married. And so when he passed, his wife then became owner of the trust. So there's a trust that was set up, but she became owner of the trust.
No, she couldn't have been owner. They had it set up like that.
They had it set up that way where she was part owner. And so I actually got legal counsel on this. And so as being the first person, the direct person to him, that she had ownership over the trust, and therefore she can at some point decide if she wants to keep us in the trust or if she wants us to remove.
No. Here it is. When he said, no. And again, this is normal.
Yeah.
When you set up a trust, you already have everything set up.
Right.
So again, and that's
it depends on what my point in sharing this is. It depends on the language that's included in the trust.
Absolutely.
And so the way that they had it set up where they had equal rights to it, she could decide whether or not later down the road that she wants to remove us as his children, that she can very well do that.
Yeah, if right, and that's the truth. That's why when you set it up, you, like me, I got everything laid out.
Yeah.
I got it laid out where this person gets this person get that, based on what they do. But just like you said, and that's what most people do, especially men. We just say, okay, we'll turn everything over to you.
Right.
And once she gets that, she got the power to do whatever.
Right. Yeah.
So did your dad set it up that way, or was it just like he just kind of like just blanket statement?
Yeah, that's how it was set up.
It was set up. It was set up that way.
That's how
it was set up. So he said, "All right, I'll give
you in control of everything,
and you in control." Gotcha.
Yeah.
Y'all got a good relationship.
So we're not talking.
Okay.
So
money does that, and money does that.
Dang.
It's the love. Watch this now. Money is not the root cause of all kind of evil. Money is good. Money is warm. It's soft. It's not cold and it's not hard. And it's better to have more money fast than less or more money later. Mm-hmm. Okay? It's the love of money that's the root cause of all kinds of evil. Because at the end of the day, she changed, didn't she? Mm-hmm. Rest my case. And if you don't believe me, name somebody you don't owe some money to that ain't paid you. Have they changed?
Man.
You can't even find them, can you?
Oh, yeah. They don't pick up the phone, nothing like that.
Absolutely.
So that's it. Like, so what did you and your father had a good relationship?
So no, we didn't actually.
No?
And that's a whole nother conversation. Through his illness, we became, so he was estranged for most of my life. Mm-hmm. He kind of came in and out. He had several relationships. And so when he got with this last wife, I didn't know anything about her. And hadn't really talked to him in about 10 years. And then it came to, she contacted my brother's mother to say, hey, he's sick. He had cancer. And so when he popped up on the scene, or when I found out that he had cancer, I reached out to him at some point. And we basically rekindled a relationship. So it was cathartic and healing for me that I was able to be there during his. I don't
think Rob knows what cathartic means.
Okay, so that's the
I just want you to clear it up for my guests because it's rude to use words that I guess cathartic.
I got a pretty good idea what
does cathartic mean? What does it mean?
It made her feel better.
Yeah, it was cleansing.
Did you make that? Did you guess?
David, you can't.
Okay, word of the day.
Conversation.
Providing psychological relief.
Follow the conversation, even though I can't spell it. But I knew how it was used. But you was right, David. That's how you clean it up.
Cathartic is an adjective providing psychological relief through the open expression of strong emotions, causing catharsis.
She is so smart.
Make her feel good.
She is so smart.
So it was purging. It was purging for me. So bless God thank you for the compliment. But so anyway, so it and my sister is on live today, and she never watches, and she's like, "You're getting too deep in the family info." So I'm gonna cut this a little bit.
That's good because she's being cathartic.
Yeah, I'm
you know
what? I'm more transparent than some of my other siblings are. So they would never come on live and talk about this publicly. And there are parts of it that I can't discuss for legal reasons. But the reality is that me and my dad were able to rekindle a relationship. We always had love for each other, but there were things in the way. And I had to forgive him for a lot of things. And so when I got over that, and word to the wise, if there's anybody listening that does not have a good relationship with your parent, go ahead and forgive them and try to get past it and reconnect with them, because it's the best thing that you can do for yourselves. And that was more valuable to me than any dollar amount that ever could come to me. So anyway, long story short, when he passed, and this is during the time of him getting sick. Cancer you can die kind of slowly. And so they were getting the documents together, and they made some last minute changes that I wasn't necessarily a fan of, but I didn't have control over that. Mm-hmm. And so here we are, to keep peace, I'm not communicating with his wife. And so I don't know where things are right now, but technically I do have a document floating out there with my name on it. So I do have a trust.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So with that being said, David, that's why, because of the daddy that raised me, if she was my daughter, none of that would happen, because it's already set.
Yeah. Because
a lot of times we don't know what we don't know, and emotions can come and go. Yeah. So I've made the conscious decision that...
And death changes you for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. It does. It changed everything for everybody.
And it does. So when you know that's possible, then all you have to do is have everything set up. Yeah. It's a game. So if everything's set up, then any Gould child is going to be taken care of because we know people come, people go, relationships, but this is something that is, real important to me, my legacy that I'm going to leave. So with that being said, they just imagine some of my grandkids in the year 3030, if the world is still being around, they're going to see that picture over the fireplace. That go great Vanderbilt or great Gould, because we can do the same thing.
Yeah.
And then that way it keeps all that from being messy.
And what happens is, and that's the beauty of it, and I love the fact that you are aware that you have to leave a legacy for your family, because that's where real wealth is.
That's it.
Because I had, out of college, I had some friends who their parents were real estate. I went to University of Illinois in Champaign.
Okay.
And I only share that for context. So then it was cheaper land out there. They got real estate and they were doing their thing. And then they got real estate in Chicago and they had a condo. So we were fresh out of school, everybody scrambling for jobs, including my friends. And they had a place to stay in the heart of the Gold Coast in Chicago because their parents owned a condo, and all of their family just went through the condo, and it was nothing, and they lived in prime real estate.
Wow.
And it was like they weren't even some of the time they weren't even working. They were trying to figure it out. They were trying to get jobs, and it was an easy transition. And of course, they got jobs. They figured it out, And but the reality was that they had a leg up that I didn't have. I went back home. And I had to figure it out. And I had no inheritance or property in prime real estate in Chicago to figure out. So, kudos to you. And I think that's something that for the Black community, we need to really be focusing on, is not only setting ourselves up, but our grandkids are going to be set up. That's where the real wealthy mindset comes in. And that's what I celebrate. So kudos to you for sure.
I received that, Darcy. And just to piggyback off of that, my oldest son had a great job at NCR. NCR does a lot of like processing for terminals to get pay and stuff. I mean, they built 2 nice, beautiful facilities in Columbus, Georgia. Then guess what happened? Apple Pay, whatever Pay, shut them down.
Yeah.
So he went from primetime money for 8 months, not having an income, but because the house that he lived in was owned by who?
Himself?
Really him, because it's mine and he's part of mine. So that $600 a month rent that he was paying, did he have to pay it? No. So when my granddaughter came, stay in her room, did she have to worry about anything? No.
She was covered.
Absolutely. Now that he's back on his feet, does he have to pay the back pay on that rent? No, because it belongs to him.
Yeah.
So again, those are the things that we can do, folks.
Yeah,
Right. Do you teach your kids this too?
Oh, absolutely.
And 2-part. 1, do you teach the kids? And 2, do they listen? Because it's hard to listen.
When it comes to money, credit, yeah, because they know that there's consequences. There's consequences. If you don't do that, then you got to go. And that's all it is, David.
Oh, so you're saying, what do you mean they got to go?
Well, they live there. They pay rent, even though it's part of, they own it.
Right.
Remember, that rent that they pay every month is just circulating back into the what? The family.
Sure.
Gotcha.
So when they didn't pay, they were able to live, not stress, go get a job. So all they did for like 6 months, then move money from the left pocket to the right pocket.
Gotcha.
But like Dee said, they didn't have any stress.
Gotcha.
And that's how I got all my homes are paid for. It's part of our legacy. And like when I was telling you, he was like, Daddy, I feel bad because I can't pay rent. Well, don't worry about it.
That's right. And that was the thing. You don't have that financial stress, because stress can really cloud your judgment.
Big time.
It can make you make decisions that you wouldn't normally make.
Desperate things.
Sure.
Because now you're trying to remember what you talked about on one of our first episodes about how people are getting 2 and 3 jobs to try to make ends meet, and it's never enough. And it's actually unproductive. It's not productive for you. And so you're scrambling trying to figure it out when you could just take a moment and decompress and sit still enough to figure out what is the best next move.
Right.
Not just a move out of desperation. Now you put yourself all out the way. Are you on another path that you shouldn't even really be on just because you don't have funds?
All right.
Like, not having wealth is so debilitating. It keeps you bound. you know, I think about this for the Black community. We don't know anything about wealth. My first job out of college, I was working for a Black investment company, a pretty popular one in the Chicagoland area. And before that, I knew nothing. You know, people, my peers, my white counterparts, they knew everything about stocks, bonds. They knew everything about investments. They already had investment accounts. I knew nothing about an IRA. I knew nothing about a 401k. I knew nothing about a mutual fund until I started I worked at Ariel Investments at the time. I didn't know anything about any of that until thank God at 22, I was working for an investment company where I got to learn all those things. And so that education piece, I think you talked about that before, the knowledge, that's the critical part.
Absolutely.
We have to teach. And so I'm even grateful for this podcast, and shout out to David Shands for having a vision to bring on Rob Gould.
Let's give it up for David.
Hey.
I think Donald might have put some claps in there. Inserted them. Let's go pay some bills real quick. And we'll come right back. Okay.
Let's do it.
If you are an influencer with a podcast, you need to be helping people, not editing. You know what I mean? Not doing all the minutia. Is it minutia?
Oh, that's another good word.
Okay.
The little stuff.
Okay,
you
let's
feel
go ahead
me?
and do the
I went to
word.
college for a couple years. Let's not act like I ain't been to college. I went.
You have been.
I didn't finish. But if you're an influencer with a podcast, you need to be helping people, not editing. Imagine putting out more content consistently while reaching your people. Well, holla at my guy, Donald the Voice. Okay,
Donald
you can take
the
your
Voice.
take your time
Donald the
back,
Voice.
get your message heard, close more clients, speaking engagements, and sales, all while sounding good. Hit up podcast producer consultant Donald today at MrSoundGood.com for your free 15-minute discovery call. So before this podcast, I call him just to make sure the settings are right, things of that nature, and we record. But after the recording's done, Rob, I email the file to Donald, and I don't have to worry about anything else.
That's called leverage. And what I love about that, David, you staying in your lane, bro.
Oh, for sure.
Stay in your lane.
For sure.
Yeah.
Make sure you go to MrSoundGood.com. And his Instagram is at Donald the Voice, right?
Yes.
Donald the Voice?
At Donald the Voice.
At Donald the Voice. If it's wrong, he'll just edit it. He'll edit this and punch himself in.
Yeah. It is.
It's actually Donald.
Is he on here?
So
No,
Donald,
he's not on
let's
here.
just make sure.
Okay.
Oh, Mr. Sound. Oh, yeah, Donald the Voice. So
Yep.
make sure you follow him. He's the producer of this podcast, and he can be the producer of yours as well. Okay, we're back. Hey, so Robert, question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Would you rather have a earning problem or a saving problem? If you had to have one weakness, would you rather be weak in making it or keeping it?
If I had to be weak, I would rather be weak in making it. Because once you keep it, then it's infinite. See, a lot of people in business, they are fighting a finite business. And what I mean by that, David, they're worried about the competition. They're worried about the warm and soft market. I don't worry about none of that. I'm fighting an infinite business. And what I mean by that, I know what I'm doing today. 3 weeks from now, I might have to do something different. Right. Why? Because infinite means ongoing, limitless, okay? And once you make that money, see, like I'll never have a money problem again. Never. Why? Because number one, my friends call me cheap, but I'm frugal. We don't even need to look up frugal, do we? And what I mean by frugal, I'm like this. You got assets and you got liabilities. To me, an asset is anything that puts money in your pocket.
For sure.
So I'm always looking at assets. When I shop, I buy from a place that pays me first. When I travel at a company that pays me. I basically paid on everything I do. A liability is anything.
Hold on, Hal, don't speed past that. How?
I told you. It's called the point system.
I got the same addiction, right?
The point.
Okay, break it down. Break down this addiction.
Let me tell you this, folks. I have 20 credit cards. And the reason I have 20 credit cards, if you know anything about the FICO scoring system, it's based on 5 components. 35% is paying your bills on time, and 30% is credit card usage.
So let's emphasize the paying the bills on time, because you can pay the bills. You can pay the bill, but it may not be on time.
Well, then you ain't paying it on time then. So You got to. So that's not even an issue.
Okay.
Just try that again. You pay your bill on time, folks. If you don't do anything, pay your bills on time.
Pay your bills on time.
It just makes you a better person. Okay, I don't pay my bills on time. Let me say that one more again. I don't pay my bills on time. I pay my bills a year in advance. My cable bill, I pay a year in advance. My light bill, I pay a year in advance. Everything, my house payment, I pay everything a year in advance.
Will come through.
And a lot of people say, Robert, why do you do that? Because the little interest that you make off of that ain't nothing compared to the peace of mind that you have paying your bills on time. But watch this. The relationship that you build with that what? Finance company. Mm-hmm. See, folks, the best way to rob the bank is with excellent credit.
Absolutely.
The best way to rob the bank is with excellent credit. The best way to get $500,000 in 2 to 6 months, get excellent credit.
Absolutely.
Folks say, Robert, how do you do that? Well, folks, if you have excellent credit and you got a mediocre job, so if you have excellent credit, that means you know how to manage your money and pay your bills on time, right?
Yep.
Folks, you can go out there and get you a $500,000 home and pay what? $1,300 a month?
And have a low interest
rent?
rate.
Let me say that again.
Nah, it'll be about 23. It'll be about 30, about 3,000. After PITI.
He knows
Watch
because
this.
he's been house shopping.
Right. See,
He's
David,
been out here.
see, watch this
He's been
now,
out
baby.
here.
Watch this now.
Calculate.
David is bringing in all that other stuff. We're just talking about folks.
Right, for sure.
So you can go get $500,000
Sure.
for about $1,200.
Sure.
I'm just telling you.
Sure.
That's it.
Yeah.
But then, like David said, you got that other stuff that comes into
Yeah,
play.
the fees.
And remember, you don't have to have those fees if you know how to use other people's money to pay that.
Yeah.
And I'll give you a perfect example. David might have experienced this. If you're a good client of American Express, did they tell you can come get $25,000 any time you want?
Oh, I get an email all the time.
I've gotten an extra $100,000 from American Express because they'll give you $25,000. It doesn't matter what the interest rate is. It could be 100%. All you have to do is make 4 payments to cut it down. And all I do, David, is take that $25,000, turn it over to my financial guy who buys stocks and bonds with it. And the money that I make off of that more than offset that little interest rate that I don't even pay.
Yeah.
So again, you can have excellent credit and you can have to get a house over here, but then you can leverage that excellent credit to get $25,000 more of this person's money to make this interest rate better, and then go out there and work and make your money to pay down their money.
Yeah, it's so amazing. And here's my advice for anybody that needs, let's just say $20,000. Let's say like, I want to start a business and I need $20,000 to start the business.
Can I put on my credit card?
Please, yeah.
Okay.
Just make sure you don't show us the number. You
They can
remember?
have numbers.
Yeah, he always do that. Yeah, because it's
DJ
like,
Khaled did that. Remember
Yeah.
that? And people were running it.
yeah.
But it don't matter. Mine's covered.
So look, Rob got the platinum card. He got a black card, but he said the black card is the worst one.
Black card is the worst one. Why? Don't give you that many
They don't give
points.
it many points.
My most favorite cards on here.
I got that. I got these two. Well, I don't got this one. I got the platinum. I was gonna upgrade, but I don't really be in the lounges that much.
Okay.
But I did upgrade this one though.
Right, but that's it. But notice what David said. Remember, he did his due diligence.
Yeah.
See, remember, folks, I'm going to put you in front of the correct information.
Okay.
I stay in the lounge. I get to Delta 3 hours before my flight.
Nice.
I don't
And you're
drink.
chilling.
Right, I don't drink.
Which is like the major benefit. But I don't drink either.
Yeah.
So
But here's why I mainly do it. Because some of y'all might say, man, that's a good-looking young brother. Black don't crack.
Yeah.
And you'll be surprised
The
how
connections you make in there.
the connections you
Yeah.
make, but a lot of the people that tend to work there look like who? Us. Us. Think about it, David.
Yeah.
A lot of them look like who? Us.
You.
I've been a few times.
Have you ever been outnumbered? The European Americans serving more than the Black Americans?
Oh no.
He's talking about the workers.
Oh, the workers. Oh no.
Yeah.
Right, I'm talking about the workers.
He's like,
Oh, there you go. So now,
Sure.
and they love that, man. Man, it's good to see you.
It's an
Way to go, man. Way to go.
Way to go. Yeah, that's funny. Like, he
Sometimes
made
in
it
the
out.
Cheesecake
He made
Factory,
it.
He's here.
David, in the Cheesecake Factory, hear me out. if a brother pulled out American Express, did it add a little bit more incentive?
I'm like, yeah, brother, I see you right here. I thought it was just them that could get it.
And you'll be surprised how that little seed can go a long way with somebody. But my favorite one is my Delta. I'm a diamond on that, about 1 million points. My Hilton, a diamond, 2 million. But this little Mother Cootie right here.
Mother Cootie.
What's that?
This is a powerful.
The Platinum American Express.
It don't have a limit to it, but you can use your points on this one to pay your bills and stuff. Yes. I went in, they was like, if you want to pay this bill right here, you can use
the wheels turning in David's head for those who can't see him right now.
See, my boy was telling me to get it, but I was like, I don't know.
And here's another one. It's good internationally. So I probably got about 300,000 points on this. And another cool thing about it, David, is with this one, at any time, we can move those points to where?
The other cars. Got you. You know what the thing on the charge card is? Obviously, you got to pay it
a year.
You got to pay it off in 30 days with the Delta or the Hilton or I got the Bonvoy too, where it's 45 days interest free.
Right.
Like you don't got to pay no interest for 45 days, so you just pay it and pay it off. But what I was saying is, for all my entrepreneurs out there, if you need $15,000, $20,000 to invest in a business, Tom, if you need $15,000, $20,000, fix your credit. That's it.
Okay.
They'll give you money. Like, oh, you fix your credit? Oh, here go $20,000.
And Dave, you know what's so powerful about that is because young folks and old folks, you know, Colonel Sanders started Kentucky Fried Chicken when he was about 65. Ray Kroc about 50-something with McDonald's. But the greatest thing for both of them is they owned it from the A to Z. Like I was sharing with Ms. D today, anything with two heads is a freak. And so many times, and all you have to do is go look back at our history of all the great stuff that we invented, but we never had ownership to it. Why? Because we didn't know anything about copyrights or whatever. So I encourage each and every one of you that have a great idea, go get your own financing for yourself so that way you won't have to dilute any of your vision, any of your thinking to that financial person that might put up the money. And of course, you're at, their mercy. Because again, anything with two heads, David, is a what?
A freak. And you don't charge $2,500 to fix your credit, right?
No.
You don't charge $3,000.
A pair of Nike Air Jordans is probably about 3 times what it costs you a month. I mean, folks, don't worry about that. Here's what I want you to understand. Go do your due diligence. See the value of what having excellent credit can do for you. And then once you see that, then I can help you get there. It'll be a lot easier because if you just do it for me or you don't do it for the right reason, it's easier to quit. We can quit on anything. But it's a lot more difficult to quit on something that you believe in and something that you really want, not need now. So you think you might need something. Those are the things you quit on, but it's something that you really want, then you'll go get it.
Absolutely. That's it. I'm excited. I'm inspired today.
For those that are just tuning in, we are here at the Social Proof Podcast, and we have our special guest, Rob Gould, and we are talking about credit repair and everything finance. And so
credit education. Not repair.
Okay.
Not restore.
Because it's not broken.
Right. Hey. You just don't know.
Right. Oh, I got a quick announcement to make. I just put down the deposit for the Atlanta Convention Center, April 2nd and 3rd. I just paid $11,000. I'm mad because they don't take American Express.
And why were you mad, David?
Because I ain't get no point.
He lost the points.
You put $11,000 up on an American Express card. You know how many points you get?
And
that's like a whole stay. That's a flight.
Here's another thing. When you use about 50 on there, they give you 10,000 MGM miles.
Right. That's why I'm platinum for next year already.
You already platinum?
Oh, come on,
so we're going to get diamond, man. By the end
I got
of
to
the
spend
year.
$250,000.
Or fly.
Okay, so they over here comparing points and cards. But let's talk about the people
it's not a comparison. I've learned it. It's not even a competition.
But what I'm saying is somebody may be listening to you both and feeling like, man, I can't get there. Or how do I get there?
Call Rob.
Call me. You can get there. Remember, watch this 100%. Now. In 2006, I had a 486. I had a new house, new car. In fact, my wife wanted a new Nissan Maxima. I got it, and I'll tell you how it went. The guy asked me, how much do you want to pay? Now, remember, I didn't know nothing about interest rates. He just said, Robert, where do you want your payments? And I said, anything less than $600. Why? Because my friend who had worse credit than me, he had got one and he was paying like $600. That's all I knew. And so when he sold the car, there was a salesperson in Opelika. I'm in Columbus, Georgia now. And when I was working at UPS, so we handled all this over the telephone. So he said, okay, Robert, send me a check stub. And how long have you been working at UPS? So he called me back the next day and said, Robert, I got you covered. Your payments are $550. And I was happy. But watch this. Knowing what I know today, that same car would have cost me $225 a month with excellent credit. Right now, I had terrible credit. But remember, folks, it doesn't matter how bad your credit is. You can still go get anything you want.
Right.
But you're going to have something of value to the financial company, whether it's some kind of land or property, or you can even back it up with cash. Well, you like, well, dang, Robert, if I had land, property, or cash, I wouldn't have to
Need
get
the credit.
it.
Right.
So that's why credit is that valuable, folks, because once you get excellent credit, the banks will call you. They will call you and say, Rob, here's money for you. David, did they call us when we had bad credit?
Nah, they call to collect.
Right. Like,
Yeah, you're overdrawn, sir. We need a couple more dollars.
Cash.
Right, exactly.
So again, education is the key. And now watch this. Knowledge is not power. Let me say that again. Knowledge is not power, because to know and not to do is not to know, right? Applied knowledge, that's where the power comes from.
The application
That's it.
Absolutely.
of that education.
You got to do
That's a
it.
fact.
Got it.
That's a fact.
Got it.
So Dacia, man, let's do we have we got the
We're going to do a You Glow Girl spotlight.
You go girl.
You Glow Girl.
Shouts out to my trademark attorney, Ms. Dana Thomas Law on Instagram. Dana DAYNA Law LAW. She's done 3 trademarks for me. The E-Complex. She made sure I was good on my Sleep is for Suckers one and a Vibe Called Blessed. And she's doing a lot of trademarks. Very professional, very easy process. And it's not going to charge you. It's not going to cost you an arm and a leg. But she's really, really good and really, really professional. So that is our female entrepreneur spotlight
Dana.
for the day.
And how do we connect with her again?
On Instagram, Dana Thomas Law, DAYNATHOMAS. THOMAS.
So if you need a trademark.
You need a trademark.
Why are trademarks important for those that may not know?
So can't nobody steal from you.
Okay.
Can't nobody steal from you, man. Like there's a lot of people that have been, you have a good idea, but you're just not on your business game. You don't get a trademark. Like say for instance, you start a company today.
Yep.
And it's a really good idea. You out there selling, you doing events. And I look it up and say, oh, I call Dana like, yo, does anybody got this trademark? She's like, no, nobody got that. I need this trademark.
Now you own it.
I own it.
You either pay him or he what? Shut you down.
I own it.
And that's what so happened to like the red light. So many things that we invented, we didn't trademark it. So somebody else just took it and ran with it.
Yep. So get your trademark done, okay? It's important, especially if you want to leave something. You can't leave something to somebody else if you don't own it.
You don't. So today is all about ownership.
And remember, David, some people might say, well, I don't know. It doesn't matter. Protect it now and then let it grow, because if you protect it now and you don't do nothing with it, then you haven't lost anything.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So some people might say, well, I don't want to pay that money for a trademark. Don't worry about that. You're sowing a seed in the most important person on this planet to you, and that's who? You.
Yep. Yep.
Investing for the long game.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Man, it's just been a wonderful, wonderful experience, man. Mr. Robert Gould, we appreciate
Excuse
you.
me?
Robert Gould, we appreciate you.
Right.
He hate the mister. My man gonna stay young forever. I ain't mad. That's what I'm gonna be on.
But let me tell you
I'm
why
like,
I do
don't
that.
call me no mister.
But
okay?
let me clarify. The reason I do that, my daddy was Mr. Gould to me. You know, that's who I learned a lot from. But then God put people like you, David, in front of me. A guy by the name of GC that really taught me 90% of what I know about the credit education game. So that's why I leave that mister to him. You know, it has nothing to do with being young, but I received that, David.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's just like, to me, it's only been one Mr. Gould, and that was my dad.
Okay.
So, and I know how to
Nobody can
respect
replace
David.
that.
I'm going to let young David say, so he can call me Mr. Robert. but he can't call me Mr. Gould
I ain't mad
or
at it.
Mr. Robert Gould.
Gotcha, no doubt. Rob, tell everybody how they can contact you and how they can start this journey of generational
Well, I would
wealth.
prefer that you call me personally. Remember, because there's nothing like the high touch. You can call me anytime at 706-681-1655 now. That doesn't mean I'm going to pick up now because there are some variations in the time zones.
Send a
in the
text.
United-
That's how I reach Robert Gould.
Well, you can call me or text me, or you can text Gould, G-O-U-L-D, at 40691, and that'll give you an overview of exactly what's going to be required of you to get your credit improved and what my company is going to do for you. So I highly recommend, if you are interested in laying the foundation to prepare your credit education, text Gould, G-O-U-L-D, to 40691. Takes about 20 to 25 minutes to go through those instructions, and I highly recommend you do it on a computer or a laptop. You can do it on your cell phone, but it chops it up into smaller pieces. Mm-hmm. So that way, when you call me, you'll know exactly what's going to be expected of you, exactly what I'm going to do. Then we can just find out exactly what you're trying to accomplish and in what time frame, and we can do that. And the reason I want you to do that is because I don't want you're valuable person, I don't want you wasting your valuable time. Yeah. And watch this. If I don't let you waste your time, guess what I'm automatically doing?
Not wasting yours.
Come on, David.
I love it. Make sure you hit up Robert Gould, man. And actually, tell him you heard about him on this podcast, okay?
Absolutely.
And he's going to take care. Make sure you take care of my people, Rob.
I got you, David. I got you.
My man, I
And
appreciate
speaking
you.
of taking care of people, we do have another sponsor we want to shout out, and that's Tom Darnell.
Okay.
He has a subscription-based program, and I think, David, you've used them before.
I use them right now.
I'm using them right now
Absolutely.
to make sure that all of your graphics are like top-notch for the complex, for Sleepers for Suckers events.
And I know a lot of my friends who are on the subscription because it's like, it's not a whole long process. It's like, yo, Tom, this is the flyer that I need. Shoot him an email. Mm-hmm. He puts it together.
And get you
You ain't
looking
got to worry
right.
about it.
Because we know media and how you look is important these days. So.
Oh, for sure. It's vital.
Documentation beat conversation all day long.
Every day of the week. Oh, let's also talk about this wedding gift, Rob, okay? Because Rob said
David
he gives great gifts.
I give great gifts.
Well, he's now
and
converting
he didn't
it.
give me a wedding gift.
Yeah,
Whoa, no.
And he was at the wedding, too.
But let's rewind as to why this really came up, because he was saying that he was going to get me and Tom.
Right.
No, I said I give.
You said you
said
give-
that. Dom said that's my fiance, and I was like planting the
I
seed
give
because
out.
normally one's
give out
scared and the other one is glad of it. So when I throw in that gift, that might make them. So I said I give great
Yes.
gifts. Then David just leaned back,
Like, hold up.
and he said, "Rob, where's my gift?" I said, "David,
No, I didn't say, where's my gift? I said, just to let you know, you didn't give me a gift. And
I
it
just
wasn't-
cut to the chase.
Just
I
like
just
I
cut
am.
to the chase.
I would have never brought it up if the conversation wasn't up already.
But did you have that as like a mental, like in your mental Rolodex? You had made a
No, it
list
just
like.
popped up.
Okay.
It's almost like, okay, say for instance, I owed you money, right? And I was on here like, yo, I don't know. I don't owe nobody no money, okay? I don't
Right.
never take no loans. You'd be like,
Hold up.
hold on, Dave, real quick. Okay, I wasn't going to say nothing because you're my boy, but
But did you really
make a
go
lot.
through the list of people that okay
No, it just
they
popped
didn't
up.
they came?
It just came up. But watch this now.
He's trying to avoid it.
I laid
He knows where I'm
back
going
and
with
I
it.
was like, "What you mean I didn't give you a gift?" And then he said, "Well, Robert, the conversation was like this." Because I asked him, I said, "What do you
yeah, we
want?"
was at Fridays.
Yeah.
Right, and
He didn't ask me what I wanted. He was like, "What your wife want?" I was
right,
like,
because I know she
I'm
had
good
me
with
at
it,
it.
too.
Because we know where it is.
So,
We know
so
where it is.
it was like a tennis match. Here's what I do, folks, just like this. This is tennis. I just put the ball in your court. I've given you the correct information and where to come get it. So here's what happened with David. I put the ball in his court and I forgot about it.
See.
I forgot about it.
Yeah.
And when he said that, I'm looking at, I knew he's at the wedding. I was like, David, I gave you a good gift.
Right.
And then Dave was like, well, what was it? And I was like, I can't remember because he said, because you didn't give me one. So with that being said, let me show you how our blessings are. Your turn.
Yeah, so Rob was like, he said, well, what you want? What you want? He's like, yo, I get you what you want. He said,
Yeah.
that's why I give great gifts because I
Yeah.
ask people what they want and I give what they want. And I said, well, I thought for a while.
No, he
Just
thought
close on
about the
house.
bedroom. He was like,
Yeah, he was looking at the bedroom.
bedroom. And then he said,
because we were shopping for bedroom furniture.
Yeah, absolutely.
For mama.
We got to finish our basement, and wanted the only thing I always wanted in my house was a pool table. And Rob said, all right, I'll get you a pool table.
And then I said, guess what? I give good housewarming gifts too.
Housewarming.
So now this is gonna be a combo.
It's a double.
A wedding and like I was saying with David, because of the relationship we had, and we both know whose we are. More importantly, who we are. It wasn't when I put that ball in the court about points, because that's what I remember. Do y'all want to fly? Wherever you want to go, I'll pay for it. He didn't want it because he had his points, but he didn't have the pool table.
I got a pool table.
So today was the time for us to reveal that, hey, Rob, you left the ball in my court about the gift. Now I'm serving it to you.
Okay, so next time you come back on the show, we'll have a good report about how you got.
No, it's already done. Now, if it's on him again.
It's going to take a little while to finish the basement, but
it's like
I ain't going to forget it. Okay.
Because let me tell you, folks, for the people that don't really know,
more incentive for me to finish the basement.
Absolutely, you got a prize coming.
But let me tell you again the kind of relationship David and I have, because I'm from the old school, folks. This stuff right here, this podcast, Instagram.
I know, because I asked before the show. I was like, "Okay, what's your Instagram handle?" And he's like, "I don't have it." And I was like, "Okay." Yeah.
And I'm just going to summarize it real cool. Like I said, David and I met from a pastor. We were both speaking, and David said, man, I want to do this. So I fixed his credit. And then we chopped it up. David is such a good listener. And I said, David, man, I don't do Facebook or none of that. So one night, David said, Rob, I need a favor. I said, anything, David. If you know anything about David, you look back and say, nah, not Rob. This is going to be unique. I said, David, anything. He said, but Rob, you say you don't do this. I said, do what? He said, Rob, I want you to come on my show and talk. Mm-hmm. And I said, yeah, David, I don't do it, but you do it. Mm. So, and that's how it all started. Mm. And because of that, David and I have been able to help a bunch of folks. Mm-hmm. So one day, I think I was coming from North Carolina. Mm-hmm. And I heard David doing something, and David was in the process of putting his vision together. And what I love about David is going to always take a shot. Yeah. Because David understands it's better to use other people's money than his money.
Okay.
So he said, hey, we want to finish our bathroom.
Yep. Nah, you just came. You walked in. I
walked in, and David said something like,
he was like, yeah, we got to finish the bathroom. But we was kind of like, understand, because we was like, we're probably 60,000 in by this point. And we said, we was like, yeah, we got to build out this other bathroom in the E-complex. And Rob was like, how much is it? I said, what was it, like 5,000? 5,000.
And David said, well, I need 5,000. I said, is it done? And he was like Scooby-Doo, like,
Yeah, I was like, what? And let me tell you why he did it again. So no lie. So we talked the day before I was doing like my walkthrough for Social Proof. And I don't know how we got on the subject. I was like, yeah, I'm doing a walkthrough at the venue for Social Proof 2020. He said, all right, I'm gonna come up from Columbus. I just want to see it. Mm-hmm. I'm like, all right, bet. So we're just walking around, and the lady says, there's, we go through it, love it, like the vision's crazy. And she says, well, the deposit's gonna be about $11,000 just for the deposit. Mm-hmm. And Rob was like, yo, you know what? I'll give you half of that. I'm like, what? Like,
because I was looking at the points, and number one, I missed last year's. I was out of town.
I was going to say another word. It wasn't altruistic, though. It wasn't just
I know what it means, but tell folks what that means.
Yeah, tell Tom
what that means.
Because Tom don't know what altruistic means. Nah, don't look it up. You used it. No, don't look it up. I want to see.
You're not getting, you don't have, it's not all about helping the other person.
No, it's all about helping him, because I know if I bless him, what automatically happens to me.
But that's what I'm saying. So it wasn't altruistic.
Altruism is just because he don't know. That's what I'm saying. The belief in or practice of disinterested and selfless concern for the well-being of others.
See, it would have been altruistic if you had concern. It didn't benefit you anyway.
But it always benefits me. But I wasn't doing it for that.
Okay.
Right. Remember,
so it was still selfless.
Right.
Okay.
For sure. 100%.
Fair enough.
Right.
100%.
Remember, David's walking around. We got the whole flow. And remember, last year, I don't know what happened, but I was out of town doing the first one. Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, I ain't going to miss this one.
Awesome.
So when he said that, and the vision was big, and I know just by helping him, I'm gonna get blessed.
I like you, Mr. Robert.
All right,
I
received that. But so after we said that, because all I was gonna do was, get it up front, and then work my tail off to get 1,500 people there.
Yeah.
But I didn't want David to have to, go through that whole cost himself. And this was even before I knew he was closing on the house. Because this is a bad man.
Yes, it is.
Bad man, because his credit's so straight. This brother can drop 18 over here, 18 over there, here, drop there, drop. Everywhere drop.
That's it. Everywhere we drop.
So, but
I'm just trying to get on y'all level.
But remember, I understand what he's going through. Mm-hmm. This is a big project.
Yes, it is.
And not only was I able to calm him down there, but I knew somebody that he knew that he hadn't talked to in how many years?
I was still at the Cheesecake Factory.
Cheesecake. And again, I met this young brother because I fixed his credit. His name is David Ruff, and he is just a beast.
Yeah, he's the owner of Doe in Atlanta. Remember you've been on the Doe? You been there? No, you been there, right?
I haven't.
He owned Doe,
and
but I think somebody bought out the space.
Yeah, the Stop. He does big productions for the big people.
He about to have this joint looking like
T.I. whatever. So when David was like, man, I don't know the setup or whatever, I said, well, David, I got a friend of mine that can probably help you.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
And I said, Chris Ruffin. So I called Chris, say, Chris, because if you don't tell Chris VIP, he ain't going to call you back. So I said, VIP, what you doing? And they knew each other, hadn't talked to each other. And before I left, David's got everything lined up for next year, right?
Oh man, we lit.
I just want to highlight the nugget on the way to this story. I mean, we hear that basically Social Proof 2020 is going to be lit.
Absolutely,
it's going to be going down. Basement.
And for older people like me, that means it's going to be fun.
It's going to be fun.
It's going to be a bunch of people there. Because they're like, lit. What are you talking about? Letting a cigarette?
Right. You're going to be doing the bump. I don't know. What do you say?
You're going to have a good time.
You're going to have a good old time.
And you got to worry about getting shot or none of the craziness. You're going to have a good time.
Yeah, translate it. I appreciate you.
I got you.
I appreciate it. See somebody. I like having him. Because he level setting me. He making me feel hip.
That's it.
But what I really wanted to highlight is the fact that David was in position because he was coachable. And you said that he was able, he was willing, he was honest, and he was open, he was transparent. He didn't come to you friend like, man, I got it together, I don't need you. He came saying, I need help. Look, this is where I'm at. He put himself in position, and then he listened to an expert.
The most coachable person I've ever had. I've had thousands of people, white, Korean, the most coachable. And I've told him that plenty of times.
So I think if we don't take anything else away from today's podcast, if you are coachable, then you can go somewhere.
Absolutely. 100%.
If you can listen and be coachable, you can actually then build. But you can't do it. You got to get that pride and that ego out the way. You got to acknowledge where you are. You have to be honest and say, listen, I need help, and not be afraid to tell somebody that you need help.
100%.
And then they can actually help you. Because look at David.
100%.
Look at David.
And another thing about me and David, and this is like an unwritten, I can tell David anything because it's like Vegas. I know it's going to stay with him. And same thing with me. Anybody that come to me about your business, it's between me and you. And I just want to let you know, no matter how bad you think you've had it, somebody they've had
way
it
worse.
Absolutely.
Way worse.
Don't worry about that. Just understand where you want to go, and I'll show you how we can get you there together. And then once you get there, don't keep it a secret. Don't be a low down, dirty snake in the grass, and keep this information from other people. And that's all I ask you to do. Once it helps you, just share it with somebody else. Yeah. Whether they do anything with it or not, at least you've taken away their excuse for not being in position to get anything they want.
100%. All right, man. We about to wrap this thing up. I got to go pick up my daughter. But please, one more time, Robert, tell them how to get in touch with you.
706-681-1655. You can text, call, or you can text GOULD, G as in golf, O as in Oscar, U as in umbrella, L as in Lima, D as in David.
Yes, sir.
At 40691 to actually see exactly what I do and how I do it, so you can decide if you see value in that information for yourself. If you don't, just share it with somebody else. And David, I want to thank you. I want to thank Miss D, and I want to thank Brother T for allowing me to come into your house.
DDT.
No doubt.
Your house.
Yes, sir.
And do what I do best.
We appreciate you, my brother.
Thank you for coming on.
Dacia?
So I am Dacia Ruth. You can find me on social media, Dacia Ruth. That's DACIA Ruth. And
RUTH?
RUTH. Yeah, not the roof is on fire.
You really wrote it down.
No, not the roof is on fire.
Absolutely. I am David. Sleep is for Suckers on Instagram. And I want to just kind of give you guys something to leave with. Donald, give me some music. Okay, just give me some music. I'm about to get deep. Nah, not deep. But I think it's important that we really take heed to this conversation and start to build generational wealth. Like I said, I made a decision by linking up with Rob, and he helped fix my credit. A few months later, I had $30,000 of income that I could use for my business or whatever. But we really got to stop talking about creating generational wealth, because it's really cool to talk about, but actually building it is a whole nother story, and there's a lot of people that aren't building it. So really take heed to this conversation. Let's not just talk about it, but let's actually be about it. All right, we'll see y'all next week.
See you soon.
Yo, this is your boy, Donald the Boys. The Boys. And that's right, if you're listening, then you know a little bit of my swag, my production. I'm a voiceover artist, podcast producer, and also a little bit of a creative. And I want to offer you a special offer for this podcast listenership. That's right, head on over to DonaldTheVoice.com. And if you need any kind of commercials, promos, or advertisements, then I'll be sure to hook you up. With prices starting as low as $50 for a fully produced commercial, I'm willing to give you the best value that you can get anywhere. So once again, head on over to DonaldTheVoice.com, and I look forward to talking to you.